$660 for a DD base? And a rim? This is gotta be the cheapest built thing in the world. Or is it? Find out right here, right now. Greetings Rommies and welcome to Rom, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and to a regular review of sims, racing games and whatever could interest you. Welcome to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Sarta and I will be your host for this video. Today we're testing the Cammus GT1 bundle. Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored, but we got the wheel system for free for us to test and we took them on an offer for affiliate sales, which we'll talk about later in the video. In between all the fanatic Simocubes and however many other companies are jumping on the direct drive bandwagon, we are spoiled for choice, which we consider a good thing. Add to that list Chinese company Cammus, who seemingly have built an electric hypercar and built electric cars. But what brings them to our channel is that they also build sim racing gear. And among the products they build are the WB21 base and the GT1 rim that fits to it, which they sell as a bundle. The price looks great on paper for a 15 Nm direct drive system, but is it because the system is cheaply built or because Cammus went for the more inexpensive options? Let's take a look at the system, which sadly is only compatible with PCs. The WB21 base looks good. The black anodized aluminum gives it a finish that I personally like, and it's got some indentations at the side. The bigger one at every side would allow for T-nuts to be fitted in and so have the base fixed at the side. But the way Cammus expects you to fit the base to your rig is through the bottom of the base. More about this later. At 11 kilograms, you know this is not some cheap plastic held together by glue, but real metal, real engineering. At 23 centimeters deep and 19 centimeters wide, it's a big base. The PSU weighs about 3 kilos and is almost as big as the base, producing 350 watts. As you can see, the base has some buttons, rotaries and even switches at the front, including the on-off switch for the base, which is not mechanical but triggers some software or hardware boot up. I had to get accustomed to that, as on my Simocube I have the mechanical switch always on, controlling all my sim racing appliances through a multi-switch board, turning on whatever I want. But I digress. At the back you'll find RJ45 connections for different pieces of gear Cammus offers or plans to offer, and of course a USB connector as well as the power connector. While the opinions of our team differ about the buttons' design, they look as if they could support intense work, and the same goes for the switches. The rotaries feel very soft, and at first I was not sure I would not mess up turning them. You can, by the way, press them too. They are rotaries and buttons at the same time, and the pressing is mapped to a different button than the rotary part, a good way to save space. Having the base power up at the front is not my favorite thing in the world, but to each his own, especially as you will have to press the button every time you sit at the wheel. I've seen worse design decisions. The base comes with Bluetooth included, which may be interesting for some wheels, but we suppose it's specially set up so you can use the mobile app to set up the base. We didn't use the app at all, as the Cammus PC software did what it had to and we didn't need to fiddle with anything. Let's move on to the rim. While Cammus offers different rims for the base, the one they offer in the bundle is the GT1 rim. When you get them, the button panel and the rim come separated, so you have to put them together, but this is easy to do and we'll have a video showing you how to put together and install the system ready soon. At 31 centimeters of diameter, the rim is bigger than what I'm accustomed and, truth be told, bigger than I like a rim to be. But this is just a personal choice. As the button panel is where the QR system is, and as the holes in the button panel panel are standard, you can put any other rim of your choice on it, even a smaller one. As you can see, the wheels got 4 buttons, 2 rotaries you can also press, and 2 switches, so the number and type of buttons is the same as on the base if you don't count the on-off button. As with the base, one of the switches has 3 possible positions you can choose permanently. The other one can be moved up and down, but always reverts to the middle position. The finish looks great and feels great. Even racing with gloves, you have a good grip on the rim, also because of the small indentations at the back of the rim, left, right and top. The quick release fits like a charm and fixes the rim completely in place. I had no issues and no movement on the wheel even at full direct drive force and in difficult situations. While the buttons don't have a click you can feel or hear, they light up when you press them. With my big fingers and the gloves, I was not really able to see the light very often, and of course even less when on VR. The Cammus software installs easily, we have had no problems at all with it. While there is not much you can do with it, the software fits its purpose completely, allowing you to set up base and wheel, setting the steering angle and allowing you to fine-tune different settings of the way the telemetry gets translated into force feedback. This is normal for direct drive wheels and in line with everyone else's offer. Sadly, even if you can save settings, import and export them, there is no wider collection of settings for different sims, neither directly from Cammus nor, similar to what SimuCube do, as a collection of user settings. We forwarded our suggestion to Cammus, who may or may not implement it. The future will tell. Another thing you can do here is update your firmware. Also, there is a page with more complex settings that you seemingly can do on a sim-by-sim basis, but truth to be told, we're not adventurous or knowledgeable enough to start fiddling with the settings, as we don't have the slightest idea what we would be changing here. We'll have a more detailed sim-by-sim experience in a following video, which will link up there. But basically, the wheel feels great, transmits the forces quite well and delivers an overall good experience when it comes to the force feedback. No matter which sim we used, be it Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista 2, R-Factor 2 or Euro Truck Simulator 2, hey, if I have a round wheel for once, I'm gonna use it here too. The forces were strong, the details well translated into force feedback, and all in all, when it comes to the force feedback, I liked racing and driving with the Cammus system. The shift paddles felt right and were easy to reach for me. If they are too hard or too soft for you, you can always change the magnets to a different strength. The holes for them seem to be quite standard, and you can find round magnets of different strength in many places. The carbon fiber of the paddles felt right and didn't budge. The paddles feel quite resilient and sturdy, able to withstand the regular treatment of a race after race after race. And if you have issues reaching them, you can always adjust the length by up to 1 centimeter. The rotaries reacted sensibly to my input and, contrary to my fears, were easy to use with gloves while allowing me to be exact in my input. In my opinion, the perfect mix between soft enough and hard enough to move. I did not have one false switch in any of my tests and could turn them without any issues one step at a time. Here's a couple of smaller critique points that may or may not apply to you, so regard them as you see fit. We're just laying them down here. Putting the power button at the front is not my favorite design decision, especially as it shines very bright and can be disturbing. On titles where I use my VR, which are all racing sims, I don't really care. But if I'm not using my VR, like on Euro Truck Simulator 2 or some of the simcades, then it's annoying, because as soon as I turn the rim enough, the on-light shines bright and directly in my eyes. Also, in case the base goes wild, you won't be able to turn it off with this switch. Cammus does sell an emergency stop, which we recommend to get, as we do for any any direct drive wheel. We have a link to it in the description below. It's a pity most companies make you buy it extra, and Cammus is no exception. In our opinion, it should be standard for every direct drive base sold, as it's an important security feature which you may never need, but if and when you need it, you'll be thankful it's there. Oh, and we'll say it every time. Put the e-stop at your feet. For the life of me, I cannot imagine what I would use the buttons at the base for in a race. Maybe I'd use the switches for some things like ignition or other stuff you use while not moving. But of course, if there are buttons you want to have as far as possible away from your fingers, like the aforementioned ignition, you would map them to the base buttons. The buttons on the rim were not easy to reach during a race, which for me is an important drawback. Things like changing the brake balance or fuel mix during the race are things I want to have easily done with eyes closed, or in my case, eyes on the VR. This is one of the reasons I like rotary buttons on the grip, like many of the Formula and GT wheels have. This rim not only does not have rotaries at the side, which in any case is not normal for this kind of round wheel, but the buttons here are not in a good position. Thanks to my big hands, I am able to reach the outer buttons with my thumbs, losing a little bit of grip on the rim. But this is nothing I'd like to use in a difficult situation in the middle of a corner. It seems you don't get any instructions for the installation of the system printed out, and are advised to get the instructions online. See the link in a description for them. Which for me meant to open them up in my notebook and check them out there. To each his own, but reading instructions this way is not my favorite thing to do. Also, they are quite basic and waste room singing the praises of Cammus. I'd rather have more specific instructions than some PR text. Cammus gracefully sent us their base adapter, which again you normally have to buy separately, which helped me in setting the base up on my R seat without having to drill any holes or have to leave holes of the base unscrewed, and therefore the base not fixed strongly to the rig. And you will for sure need a rig for a 15 Nm direct drive base. We would recommend Cammus to add more holes to the base, as the 4 it comes with are not really enough. At least make the base compatible to well-known rig brands out there. Even with the base adapter, I still had to fiddle around to fix the base, as there are no instruction at all for the better use of the base adapter. You have to find things out for yourself. But once I got the hang of it, the base was fixed strongly and sturdily to the rig and withstood any treatment I gave it in the races. One issue you will be confronted with is that while the price looks good, it's near impossible to get that price for the system. And we are not talking about the e-stop or any extra you may need to fit it to your rig. We did some checks for the EU, UK and the US, and I even tried tricking reseller websites into letting them think I was from somewhere else. First of all, there's almost no resellers for Cammus, and those we could find and had the systems in stock all wanted around €1,000 USD for it, which is more than buying directly from Cammus, including transport. But at least the reseller is subject to your local warranty laws, which we don't expect you to need for the system, but you never know. Buying from Cammus directly, see the link in our description, will always incur in about 150 to €200 USD for transport, unless you are in the EU and are not in a rush, because you can get it sent by train, and then it's less than €100, but it takes longer. We would recommend Cammus to reach out to resellers and see to it they ramp up the distribution, which we realize is a chicken and egg problem, especially as Cammus does not seem to be a big company like, say, Fanatec or Logitech. If you are price conscious, the better way to get the system is directly through their international shop. This is where the special offer from Cammus to our viewers comes in. You'll get the Cammus gear 5% cheaper if you buy through the link in a description or use our coupon. But that does not include the transport, and yes, we will get a percentage of the sales if you do so. The link sends you directly to their international shop. The product is sent directly from China. By the way, and as an aside, the system is very well packaged and none of it had even a scratch, not even the Cammus boxes. Bravo to Cammus for that. Patrons allow us to ignore any YouTube bullshit and allow us to invest in high-quality sim racing journalism like Sim Racing Expo or buying hard-end software without strings attached. Amongst other perks, becoming a patron will fix your name for posterity like this, but you'll also get to know what we plan and what we're doing and will be able to take part in our decisions. So, a big thank you to our patrons. If you come here regularly, please consider subscribing. Using the wheel and the system during races or with any other game was all in all a pleasurable experience. The 15 Nm it delivers at maximum setting are more than enough to let you feel the road and the tires, and the force feedback has more than enough detail to allow you to feel the car and what is happening. You may have to adapt the settings of your sim to the Cammus system, but it's not like you don't have to do that anyway with any other system. In our more extensive test video, where we're going to go sim by sim, we'll show you our settings in the hope they give you a head start into getting the force feedback set up the way you want it. This is not a flashy system, just a budget one. But we feel that Cammus mostly cut corners where it's less important. It's not a base to put in a design shop, it's one to subject to heavy duty, which it does well. Cammus seems to have implemented budget components in the wheel system, which helps reduce the cost and also makes it easy for people who like to fiddle with their own systems to fit them to their taste. As many of the components are standard, changing or tweaking them is easier than with systems that have everything designed to their special specifications. Or even companies who set up their systems in a way that makes it very difficult to use other components. Yes, I'm looking at you, fanatic. We've seen people using alternative quick release systems or using other rims to put onto the button box when using the Cammus system. You will have to decide for yourself if things like the buttons on the base are important for you, if you feel they are a good idea. Another thing we'd advise Cammus to do is to have more holes on the base that are in line with the settings of at least the most important rig companies out there. As we know, Cammus keeps tweaking the design and thus improving their systems regularly. We hope the next design round will see a redesign of the bottom of the base. Also, Cammus' ecosystem keeps expanding with other rims, pedals, rigs, and so on. The company seems to have enough success to add ever more parts to their offering, which is good news if you decide to go Cammus. And from our experience with this bundle, while the Cammus system is not perfect, for round about €800 USD for a 15 Nm system, it's an interesting offer you may want to think about when you think about direct drive systems.